Welcome to the second episode of the Moderne India's podcast series. My name is Sundeep Singh. I'm a consultant at McKinsey & Company and your host for today's episode. With me today, I have a very interesting guest whom I'm really looking forward to interview and have a conversation with. He has over 34 years of professional experience as an engineer, an economist, and a diplomat. He joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1993 and has since represented India across the globe, in Egypt, Palestine, the US, and China, to name a few places. He has also authored a book on energy security and economic development in India. Dr. Bala Bhaskar, the Indian Ambassador to Norway, thank you for joining us today and a warm welcome to Norway.
Thank you so much.
So, how are you finding Norway so far? Have you settled in?
Yeah, it's a great place, and I came in a very, very good time, summer. So I'm able to travel and enjoy the natural beauty of Norway. Although I had some idea about generally the beautiful part of this world, but I didn't have a great understanding of how seamlessly beautiful it is. So I could only know after coming here.
This was your first time visiting Norway.
Yeah, first time to this part of the world.
Yeah. I hope you'll keep sort of the same optimism when the cold winter hits.
Yeah.
The Norwegian winters can for sure be hard. Because you were in China before this, right?
Yes.
And how was that experience?
Yeah, it was a great experience. It is a big country, and India and China are, in that part they are very big countries. So I enjoyed working in China. It's professionally very challenging. We have a very, very comprehensive partnership. So that was good.
And your thoughts now coming into a new country, a new role as a diplomat. What are your aspirations or thoughts on the Indo-Norwegian relationship as you enter into your new role?
India-Norway relationship is a partnership. I would call it as a innovative partnership because in the recent past, Norway has developed cutting-edge technologies. It has laid great emphasis on research, innovation, and consequently, very, very, superior technologies in niche areas have been developed. And our Prime Minister has launched a Make in India campaign in 2014. The objective of the Make in India campaign was just to make India as the global hub of manufacturing. So I think the relationship between Norway and India have taken a new shift in the wake of Make in India campaign of India, and then the rise of new generation companies, technological companies in Norway. I think this is a perfect timing and perfect combination for cooperation. We have a lot of cooperation in innovation, research, at the scientific level, in the health sector, so several areas in blue economy, maritime areas. So I think this is a very, very good growing relationship, and it will have a good.
And are there any of those areas you see as priorities for yourselves or India in the coming years? Something you'd like to work more within?
Yeah, our Make in India campaign. We have launched this campaign to encourage manufacturing and also leapfrog into new technologies.
Yeah.
See, our manufacturing in the initial stages of industrialization could not be on par with the rest of the world. But the Make in India campaign and the new initiatives that the government have taken, they are basically aimed at leapfrogging our industrialization to modern technologies, niche areas, cutting-edge technologies. So we are looking for these technologies to come to India and then use our large technical and skilled manpower and then our coupled with a lot of economic packages, liberalization initiatives. So I think this is what we are looking from Norway. Already there are more than 150 companies are there in Norway. They are working, they are operating in India. I think that is a very good sign how Norway sees the opportunities in India.
Yeah.
And similarly, there are large number of companies. There are, particularly in the IT sector, they are present here. They are contributing for the, fast digital revolution that is happening even in Norway. And also through this digital revolution, taking to rest of the world. So Indian companies, top companies are present here. They are playing very important role. And there are large number of Indian technical personnel working here. They are experts in critical areas of engineering, medicine, other technologies. So they are playing a sterling role in various fields. I think in the industrialization, in the oil and gas sector, in the marine sector, you name any sector, Indian people are making very critical contribution in every field. So I think that is a good that forms the very very technical basis of uh, relationship between India and Norway.
Yeah. And just to provide a little bit of context to the listeners for the Make India campaign. So Make India campaign is basically a campaign launched by the current government in 2014 to sort of increase the GDP contribution of Indian manufacturing, right? And the sort of broader context here is the lagging GDP growth, which sort of picked up this decade but has sort of slowed again the past few years. But what has been a success story in the midst of this has certainly been the Indian technology sector, as you correctly sort of alluded to, and that has, as I would imagine, probably shaped Indian foreign policy as well. We've seen this year a lot of foreign direct investments into India. I think the figure is $40 billion. And keep in mind, that's in midst of a pandemic, right? And that really attests to the success story the Indian tech sector has become. Why do you think that India has succeeded with its tech sector? What's the recipe for success?
Yeah, that's a very important question. India, we have developed a large variety, pool of technical institutions since beginning. If you go and see, even in the rural areas, we have a number of institutions that offer skills, that offer trades, software programs. And India has been traditionally very strong in science subjects, mathematics, physics. So generally, parents encourage their students to study since childhood these subjects.
Yeah, I can
So
I can definitely attest to that.
so that atmosphere of studying, encouraging children to study technical subjects, science subjects, has created a different ecosystem in India. And secondly, Indians, they value the education of the parents. The general approach of parents is to educate their children at any cost. They realize the value of education. And government has also set up large number, different levels of institutions. So that helped create a large pool of technical know-how since childhood.
Yeah.
And added to that, we have this scientific temperament and approach to life, and then so that has created a very positive and ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I think that is then. Then secondly, that has created a strong basis for the digital revolution in India.
What do you believe the most critical factors have been? When we talk about India, we often talk about a young working force. We're talking about a population that adopts technology very quickly and very fast, and a number of factors have been discussed when discussing or when trying to explain the Indian tech opportunity. What do you think are the one or two most important factors?
No, the I think all the factors that I mentioned. First of all, we have developed a wide network of schools and colleges,
Yeah.
and then the general upbringing of children in encouraging children to study science and technical programs. I think this is a general that has contributed for a vast network of schools and colleges, and that has created basis for scientific and technological development in India.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, and I agree that education has certainly played a big part in the sort of Indian success story so far, and you see it in how the GDP is broken down, right? If you look at Indian GDP, almost 60% of the GDP contribution comes from services, which is quite a large chunk. And previously we used to talk about the Indian brain drain, right? You had smart Indian students moving abroad, studying abroad, and not returning back. What I've seen in the past few years is that more and more young Indians see an Indian opportunity to return back. I remember several of my friends at Oxford who could have stayed back in London or gone to New York or taken jobs anywhere in the world. They really wanted to go back and saw a big opportunity in India. Why do you think that is? How has that sort of reversed itself?
First of all, I don't agree with this concept of brain drain, because India is a very big country. It's a country of 1.3 billion people. We can supply technical skills or engineering skills or medical skills to the whole world. So I don't think that any people going abroad and studying abroad, looking for opportunities abroad, is not a brain drain. It is actually adding to the intellectual and scientific growth of India, because we proved, as I mentioned earlier, that we have hundreds and hundreds of institutions which create such kind of scientific temperament, engineering skills. So some people going there and looking for opportunities is not considered as a brain drain, but it is the way Indians going abroad and acquiring knowledge, and that what knowledge they acquire cannot, because now subsequently what happened, the whole world is also interdependent. So no knowledge is isolated. Any knowledge is ultimately it recirculates into the society. So our people going to foreign countries, acquiring knowledge, acquiring know-how, acquiring skills is not a brain drain. It is contributing to our technical know-how and further development of this kind of scientific and engineering.
By the way, that's a great way of looking at it. And if you see, when we discussed the tech sector, how companies like Google and other of the sort of FANG companies are entering India, certainly having a large number of Indians at the executive level helps.
Yeah. So the first, as I mentioned, large the network of schools, colleges. Again, we are going to the basics.
Absolutely.
In India, because then that has created a large number of people acquiring technical skills. Then they have gone abroad. They have acquired also so many skills, so much of knowledge. They contributed to the progress of their countries where they went and served. Now, over a period of time, government of India has also come up with a lot of initiatives for reintegrating or bringing our technical know-how into India, encouraging non-resident Indians. Our Prime Minister, wherever he goes, he makes it a point to address non-resident Indians, Indian diaspora, encouraging them to come back, encouraging them to make contribution to the country of their origin. So that message across the globe has gone well, and having attained certain levels of education and prosperity and skills, people feel that now time has come to also come back. But that doesn't mean that it is a two-way process. People are coming. People are still going from India to abroad and looking for newer opportunities, newer place, new areas of study. So it's a continuous process of development and exchange.
Yeah.
So that way, I think, yeah, your point of coming, all these big companies coming to India itself is a message that how India is uh, opening up to the world, and also creating such a potential for multinational companies to come, that ecosystem, the atmosphere, the diversity of India, the democracy of India. All these factors is a combination of factors are encouraging multinational companies to come back to India and set up their shops. Apart from that, the new initiatives that the government has taken, like recently we have taken faceless taxation. Then we have relaxed several sectors for foreign direct investment. Recently, a large number of Indian origin or Indian diaspora or even foreigners felt that our education system needs to be integrated into the international education system, particularly in the schooling and secondary education. Keeping that in mind, we have come up with a new education policy. So these education policies, like in fact recently I met some Indian community in Norway. They wanted to go back to India and then look for opportunities in India. I asked him what prompted them to thinking of going to India. They said, the new education policy, that what we have been looking for. We have been abroad. Our children have studied in international schools. So we are afraid of going back to India because the education system is different. Now we feel that our children can easily merge into the Indian education system with this background. So I mean, this kind of the issue appears to be very small, but it has a very pervading impact on the Indian diaspora.
Absolutely.
So I think these are the issues that are attracting, apart from multinational companies, Indian diaspora also.
I think your point on the education system is certainly very valid, given when you look at institutions like IIT or IIM being big recruitment hubs for successful Indian companies, but also getting wide recognition abroad, right? So before you probably had a lot of Indian students going to prestigious institutions abroad, but now these institutions also attract a lot of talent towards India. And on the second point, in terms of the government incentives, we're seeing this big startup scene coming up in India, operating out of Bangalore. You have a lot of fintechs in Mumbai. Flipkart is a big success story. What are your thoughts on the Indian startup landscape and how that has developed?
As you might have heard, our Prime Minister said that Indian youth are so talented, and they have acquired also so much knowledge, both in India and abroad. So then he said that instead of seeking employment, they should be employers. This is the whole concept of initiating the Startup India program.
Yeah.
You start up because now technology. The another point is the technological advancement. Our Prime Minister is one of the highly tech savvy leaders in the world. I mean, he knows how the advancement technology. So he said that the technology is so diversified, and that has diversified the opportunities. So this was the objective of initiating this Startup India, and large number of youngsters are coming up with their own ideas. Earlier, technology was very much limited to certain countries, certain research institutions. Now, technology is in greater circulation among the people. So he wants them to take advantage of that, come up with their own ideas. So we have launched, we have several schemes for encouraging these startup projects and eased bank loans for them. Then technical support also. So all these things can bring new revolution in India, both in technological arena, in the service sector, in the agriculture sector.
How important do you think the high priority that foreign direct investments have played in this government's strategy for India? How important has that been in really sparking innovation in India? We're seeing companies like Geo, who's raised a lot of capital over the past few months, and you see a lot of prominent investors really fighting to get in and get that market access. How important has that one strategic priority from the government regarding the FDIs been in this?
No, we have liberalized FDIs in many sectors, including defense sector.
Absolutely.
So this is a part. This is the extension of or part of our initiative of Make in India program. So we want companies or people to come and make in India, bring their technological. We believe that technology is not anyone's asset. It has to go global. And then if we have any technology we want to manufacture, then come to India. Then we have all these facilities. We have a big market. We have a large pool of technical people. We have we have liberalized so many policies, like and also facilitated, like GST. We have a one tax policy. These were some of the challenges before. Now we have overcome all these challenges: GST, facility taxation, and other initiative. So this has been attracting foreign companies to come to India, and India is also as a democracy. They know that when there are we go by rule of law. We have freedom. We have people can do. Take initiatives the way they like. These kind of, we don't have interferences in their business affairs. So all these initiatives have been encouraging foreign investors to come to India. Secondly, India is a very diverse and culturally. So generally Indians are they have this habit of welcoming foreigners. They treat the foreigners as guests of India, and so that kind of special treatment to foreigners extended to foreign companies is also a major attraction for various multinationals, various other foreign companies to come to India, set up their shops.
We've spoken a lot about the tech sector and the manufacturing sector with Make in India now. Which new emerging sectors do you see being attractive for foreign companies? So if Norwegian companies, Scandinavian companies want to enter India, which sectors do you see as being attractive going forward?
Already more than 150 Norwegian companies are present in India. They are into fertilizer, they are into shipping, they are into maritime, they are into blue economies, they are into IT, they are into startups, robotics. Norway has also come up with a special policy on startups. So a large number of startup companies with the latest technologies, as I mentioned, they are into also these startup companies. For example, there is a company here. They are with their data and advancement techniques. Suppose they for some amount for drilling one oil well, it costs about $150 million. With their a small startup company, with their advancements in artificial intelligence and data science, they are able to reduce this cost of drilling of 50%. Okay, so these are not big companies, but they are smaller companies, but changing the lives, changing the economy in a big scale. So they are also looking towards, since we have initiated a Startup India campaign, and Norwegian companies are also encouraging. I think there is a growing synergy between Indian startup companies and Norwegian.
But do you see newer sectors, and I think specifically renewables? We talked about energy before when we met earlier, and your view on how important energy is for GDP growth. Do you think renewables, given Norway's strong focus on renewables going forward, will become an emerging sector in India?
No, we have launched solar mission long back ago. India is one of the pioneers in propagating the need to have a sustainable development and also renewable energy. But unfortunately, the rest of the world didn't realize in the early stages. Now I'm happy that most of the world is now uh, focusing on developing renewable energy. So Norwegian renewable companies are already operating in hydropower, solar, wind power. So all these technologies are proving to be more and more relevant in the modern days because of the challenges of the non-renewable energy are growing. And then in the backdrop of COVID, the environmental factors, I think all these factors and the growing oil prices. There is a new emphasis on, India has been already in the forefront of educating renewable energy. Now the rest of the world is also joining hands with us. They are operating in a big way. So and hopefully we will have more and more share of renewable energy in future in India and also abroad in other countries.
Yeah, I remember as a kid going back to India and seeing these biogas plants, and they were very innovative at the time. I can't remember seeing them here in Scandinavia at all. So certainly these technologies have been used in India for a while, and I think it will be very interesting to see where India takes this opportunity going forward. Norway and India both got up a seat at the UN Security Council recently, where Norway said that renewables would be a strategic priority for them, also going into that council. What do you think? How do you think that the UN Security Council seats will impact the Norway-India relationship?
No, first of all, we are happy that Norway and India are entering Security Council at once. India has been, this is the 8th time that India has been elected as a member of the Security Council. India has a long history of winning elections in the recent past. What is more important here is not that we have become members of the Security Council, but the overwhelming majority of people voting for India. I think that speaks volumes about the growing stature of India. How world sees India as a very responsible and responsible nation, capable of contributing in addressing the challenges that the world is facing right now. We are going through a very critical phase. We have several challenges. Recent challenge being the COVID-19, and you are aware that in the COVID times we have supplied medicines for 150 countries, while we are fighting challenges on our own domestic front. We also shared our know-how, our supplies to rest of the world, and this is how this is a case in point that how India is a responsible country capable of contributing in addressing the challenges. So I think we have a very, very And Norway, has also long history of conflict resolution. They understand issues. Both are democratic countries. Both have a shared value system. Both have similar views on various issues being faced by the world. I think cannot be more opportune time than now for India and Norway to work together. And I'm sure that we make a good contribution to world peace and stability.
You're speaking so well about Indian interests and the sort of priorities that the Indian government has. From growing up here in Norway, what I remember is getting the question, "Do you speak Indian all the time?" There is no language called Indian. India has more than 20 official languages. We can take us, for example, as an example. My parents are from northern India. You're from South India. We might watch the same movies. We might cheer for the same blue cricket team. But we have vastly different cultures. How do you go about representing the interests of a country with such diverse cultures, religions, and languages?
No, that is our strength.
Yeah.
That our diversity is a strength of Indian diplomats. Because when we go abroad, we understand, we appreciate the cultures of the country where we are working. We understand their traditions. We quickly grasp their ethos. We appreciate or we integrate with their thought process so quickly because we have grown up living in multiple languages, diverse cultures. So for us, India is like a mini world. Going to another country doesn't make any difference because we are all born, growing up, seeing us many religions, many languages, many cultures, many food habits. So we are, since childhood, we are grown in that atmosphere. That is our strength. So I don't think that is any disadvantage. It is our strength and not only Indian diplomats. If you see why Indian community is so well respected all over the world, because their ability, the tolerance. Tolerance is the hallmark of Indian culture and tradition, irrespective of languages, regions, religions. There is some standard Indian ethos that have been cultivated from time immemorial. That is one of these things is tolerance, ability to you tolerate other foods, you tolerate other languages, you tolerate other cultures. That tolerance is the hallmark of Indianness. So because of that, Indians are successful everywhere. They are integrated into the society or country where they work. They are respected there. They contribute to their economy. They understand their ethos. If you see in the Gulf world, poor workers from India go there and they speak their language. They pick up language. They people from all over the world, they go there and they immediately pick up the language and they become part of the those countries. They respect law, they respect their ethos. So I think this is the success story of India starts with India's diversity.
That's very well said. And to round off with the success story of India, I want to give you the opportunity of making a very quick pitch for India. Why should foreign companies go and establish themselves in India? What's the value proposition?
When you say want to set up a company, what do you look for? Why do you set up company? Right? You need technical people, skills, both engineering and other technical skills. You need rule of law to be respected, right? You need freedom to undertake activities the way you like, right? You need a big market, right? You need infrastructure. So all these advantages are there in India now. So anyone cannot ignore. I mean, you come for a business from faraway place. You look for all these aspects. So when you find there, then you have to be there.
Dr. Bhaskar, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. Thank you for taking time and sharing your reflections with us. And I wish you all the best for your time as ambassador here in Norway.
Thank you so much.